Hey guys, RanterInShades here, exercising my First Amendment rights vlog style, and it's time now for everyone's favorite show, kinda, not really, maybe, What's Wrong With?
What's wrong with me? You wanna know what's wrong with me? I can ask you the exact same thing. What's wrong with me?
When it comes to bands I want to talk about for this series, I usually like waiting for one of them to be talked about in recent music news, so the episode is more relevant. But I feel like the more I do that, the less output there ends up being for the series. Weirdly enough though, this is a band that somehow always finds a way to be talked about every year. Yep, we're talking about Five Finger Death Punch. Wait. Wow. Clever. Stylistically, Five Finger Death Punch has been a band I've always been impressed with. They're sort of like a more melodic Slipknot in the sense that they do a fair amount more in the lead guitar department. And me having a pretty good ear for what makes good alternative metal, they're a band that jumps right out at me. They're also grouped in with groove metal, which I've always viewed as a subgenre of thrash metal, so some comparisons can be drawn to Pantera, Sepultura, Soulfly, and Machine Head. So when adding those melodic aspects we were talking about a little bit ago, we pretty much have the basic ingredients for a damn nice modern metal band. I find the musicianship to be impressive, particularly with lead guitarist Jason Hook. The drum work from Jeremy Spencer is pretty nice, and Ivan Moody has a cool voice for the genre, both with his screams and his cleans. They were also a blast to see live at Mayhem Fest in 2013. I still miss that festival. They probably had the most stage presence on the entire main stage, though nothing will beat Amon Amarth's stage setup. I'm a fan of their first three albums, The Way of the Fist, War's the Answer, and American Capitalist. Songs like Back for More, White Knuckles, which is not an Alter Bridge cover unfortunately, The Bleeding, Bulletproof, and even their cover of Bad Company by Bad Company are really enjoyable listens with sweet riffs, cool solos, nice vocal work, and are overall just a good representation of what the band is capable of. I haven't been following them as closely since then or listening to much of their newer material, but a lot of people seem to really not like Wrong Side of Heaven, Righteous Side of Hell, and Got Your Six. From what I've heard from those albums, they're not horrible for alternative metal, but I do see them kind of losing a bit of their edge. On one hand, that tends to happen when bands that have been around for a while put out music on more of a consistent basis, which in the case of Five Finger Death Punch is probably them trying to fulfill their requirements for their contract with Prospect Park. But on the other hand, that's not an excuse for any downgrade in effort compared to the first three albums. The only thing I will say that is super negative about Five Finger Death Punch's music is that their song Battleborn steals lyrics from Whitesnake.
Don't know where I'm going, but I know just where I've been. I don't know where I'm going, but I sure know where I've been.
Come the fuck on! Now it's time to debunk the flack. Aside from the decline in quality a lot of people bring up about Five Finger Death Punch's music, most of the problems people have are with Ivan Moody. To his credit, he does not sound like a dude you want to fuck with, but that "don't fuck with me bruh" attitude can be understandably off-putting. From what I understand, he has a bit of a relationship with booze, and that can play a part in shaping your personality. Other than that, it shouldn't be much of a surprise to the people that watch my videos that I don't like when the art isn't separated from the artist. Pretty much every musician I've talked about in my Crybabies of Rock series, I'm a fan of their music. Them being crybabies or straight up assholes isn't gonna change that. They're just assholes. But then again, there was that story from 2015 involving domestic violence accusations towards Moody. Now, as real and serious of a topic as domestic violence is, I couldn't help but think that the accusations from TMZ were really far-fetched, saying that his mother and sister were also victims of domestic violence, and that he strangled his wife in a jujitsu chokehold of all things. It all just seemed convenient for TMZ. But then again, it is TMZ, so it's not like we should be surprised since stretching the truth or straight up spreading bullshit for clicks is pretty much what they make a living doing. And I also remember Zoltan Bathory, the rhythm guitarist, saying Moody wasn't even married at that point in time. Seems like a hit piece to me. or a stink piece, as Anthony Fantano would call it. It wouldn't surprise me if there were a bunch of motherfuckers that basically jumped to conclusions and assumed that all that was being said was true, or still think it was true, out of nothing but pure bias. This just goes to show that bias should not be clouding your judgment, especially when TMZ is being used as a source. It doesn't seem too hard to believe that Moody is a violent person, as he certainly gives off that vibe, and him loving that alcohol doesn't exactly help there. But again, it doesn't really affect what I think of him as a vocalist, and it certainly doesn't correlate to Five Finger Death Punch as a band. Other than that, the vibe I get is that people don't dig the style. Too much screams, too nu metal for their tastes, all valid and understandable reasons to not like a band. I personally don't find anything wrong with their style, and I don't get where the term bro rock or bro metal really applies. It would make sense if we were talking about a band like Attila, Amur, or even Limp Bizkit, since their antics are pretty comparable to bro country like Florida Georgia Line. Ugh. But I don't know, is that really valid? Maybe I'm just out of touch here, but the prefix bro just sounds juvenile when describing music. Regardless, even if bros enjoy the music, so what? You don't need to pay mind to the fan base when evaluating an opinion of a band, just judge them based off the music. Simple as that, really. That's about all I have to say here. This is definitely one of my more tame What's Wrong Withs, which really gets me confused as to why this band is bashed so much. So here's that glorious part of the video where I ask you, the viewer, what's wrong with Five Finger Death Punch? Please be rational when giving your thoughts in the comment section below. Take care and have a nice day. I'm Shades, and I'll see you next time.